So the most recent episode of The Mandalorian gave us a good look at Mandalore, but also a really good look at a whopping number of TIE interceptors, so I figured today we could take a closer look at those TIE interceptors and who they might belong to. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So I want to get one thing out of the way before we begin. If the characters hadn't really mentioned it, I wouldn't have considered this number of TIE interceptors to be unreasonable. Any Imperial warlord with something like a Quasar Fire could reasonably field this many TIE interceptors, and later in the war, there was efforts being made by the Imperial military to replace all their standard TIE LN starfighters with TIE interceptors, which were better for the interceptor role. So it would make sense for any post-Imperial faction to be utilizing TIE fighters, specifically TIE interceptors. But on top of that, we can assume that any Imperial warlord who has access to something like, say, an ISD would be more than capable of fielding this many TIE interceptors and TIE bombers. Now, all that being said, the characters do specifically remark that this is an unusual number of TIE interceptors, so I figured today we could take a closer look at who might own those TIE interceptors and what that might mean for the future of The Mandalorian as a series. So let's just jump in with the fan-favorite theory, and the one that's on everyone's mind. Could these TIE fighters belong to Grand Admiral Thrawn? Well, for those of you who don't know, Grand Admiral Thrawn was the main antagonist of Star Wars Rebels and played a really significant role in Star Wars Legends, especially in the post-Imperial era. He was a warlord who unified all the other warlords under his command and was able to lead a nearly successful campaign against the New Republic. So seeing him fill a similar role in canon is not out of the question. In fact, I would consider it likely. Combine that with the fact that we see Ahsoka hunting for Grand Admiral Thrawn leads me to believe that he has returned. On top of that, we do see a lot of questions raised in the last season of The Mandalorian, where there's sort of some confusion as to where Imperial resources are going and who exactly is funding a massive new war machine being built for the Imperial Remnant, i.e. this really could be Thrawn. So it would make sense that Thrawn could field a much larger number of Imperial forces, seeing that he was remarkably capable when it came to unifying factions under his command. After all, his biggest strength in Star Wars Legends was not only his cunning and intelligence when it came to battle strategy, but his ability to sort of unify commanders under his sort of banner using basically just logic. That it was more logical for them to side with him and carry out a campaign against the New Republic together as opposed to squabbling on their own. So Thrawn is a very real candidate for the source of these TIE fighters. They are massive in number, but he's not the only candidate. There is obviously the fairly reasonable possibility that these TIE fighters are under the command of an Imperial warlord that we have not met yet. Or perhaps it's even Moff Gideon and the remnants of his forces, or even a new force mustered under him after he perhaps maybe slipped away from New Republic custody or something like that. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously the biggest theory is Thrawn, and honestly, if I had to put my money anywhere, I would bet that these are Thrawn's TIE fighters. It would make sense for Grand Admiral Thrawn, by the way, to be trying to tie up loose ends that Moff Gideon was dealing with before his capture. In fact, it would make sense for any Grand Admiral who was leading the Imperial warlords to sort of want to tie up all the loose ends before carrying out a campaign against the New Republic. We also see some signs that within New Republic programs designed to rehabilitate Imperial officers, that there is some questionable activity going on that may be linked to trying to support or supply a larger Imperial program, possibly under the command of a new emerged Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, yes, if I had to guess where these TIE fighters came from, my guess is Thrawn's Star Destroyer. It might even be the Chimera, which we saw during Star Wars Rebels, and fingers crossed, I'd love to see the Chimera in live action. That would be absolutely awesome, so hopefully we get to see it, but not holding my breath on that one. But all in all, this just raises more questions. The Imperial Remnants depicted in The Mandalorian do a lot to sort of bridge the gap between the Empire and the First Order, but they still remain relatively mysterious, generally appearing to be small, disconnected factions instead of a large, organized faction like what we saw in Star Wars Legends. And if you'd like to learn about some of the differences between Imperial warlords in Legends versus Canon, I'll leave a link to my video up here, which was actually one of the first videos I did on that topic. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think these TIE fighters belong to Grand Admiral Thrawn, another Imperial faction we have yet to meet, or Moff Gideon. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below. And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Star Wars, you can leave that down below as well. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.